Let's go. Let's work towards wrapping the show up here. We'll do a little segment on business and branding. Jimmy, we're not going to send it to the full. We're not going to send it to the top here, but we're going to dig into it because I know that we have a topic we have had on the table for a week now, but it keeps being shuffled around.
I don't even know if it's worth chatting about. I'm like, I don't even know if this is good, but you know what? The way that Keith and I talk, it'll evolve into what it'll evolve
Let's
into.
get
And
into
that's
it. We're
just what
talking.
we do.
We want to talk about the foundation of your business. And actually, it's good timing today because I know I'm in leveling up mode. It's time to level up. Adam talked about leveling up and as a visionary. And I really was tuning into what Adam was saying because I can relate to it. He's like, yeah, I can see way over there right now because I can too. And to those that can't, you're trying to find
And
a way to help.
it's a feeling that it's really hard to describe to other people when you're not in it, but you can't always articulate when you
Yes,
have met it, but you're like, I just know. I know that this is the right place. I know that this is the right move.
it's true because, and Adam said it. I was talking with Adam about it yesterday, and it's true because there's this, and it's hard to even describe the skill, if I can even call it that, but it's seeing further out and then trying to get your colleagues to see there as well and get them there. But it starts with the foundation of your business, right? And most entrepreneurs, in my experience, anyways, are building on quicksand, right? Wondering why everything just keeps sinking. And if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, that's exactly what's going to happen. So in my experience as an entrepreneur, it's constant iteration. You heard Adam earlier. Last year was his test: iterate, iterate, iterate. But let's get down, Christina, into the 5 foundations most businesses are missing and why perhaps it's killing their growth. And I loved your first one. Number 1, stop playing business. And I'll add to it. As kids, we grow up, we play house, we play business. Gentlemen, men, you're starting your business today. It's not a hobby. No, stop treating it like a hobby. You might treat it like a hobby for a while because you're figuring shit out, but there comes a point where the light goes on. It's okay. Nope. Bing, bing, bing. Hobby's done. It's time to make it a business.
Mhm.
Let's talk about this idea of stop playing business, Christina Flynn. When you hear this, what does that mean to you?
I think the direction that I want to take this is there's a lot of people that are entrepreneurs that don't have business degrees. I'm
Yes.
one of them. And so when I got into business, I had a lot of preconceived notions as to what business was. And
Mhm.
really, when I thought about me as an entrepreneur, I looked at the visionary, which is what I am, and I would find the team to do a lot of the executing, not realizing like that comes in time, but in the beginning, it's you. And you have to figure all of that shit out. So not having any business acumen, not really having any financial acumen, it really hurt me because I kept trying to hit these grand slams, thinking that then I would have the financial resources to bring in the people I need. So I, in my opinion, was starting backwards. And I don't think that it's that uncommon for people that are like, I know I can think big, I can think big. And if we just convince the right people to buy into this actual solution, then I'll get the resources I need and then I'll be able to start the foundation. So that's the direction I wanted to go with you for this one in particular, which is yes, you need to have the vision, but also it doesn't matter because if you nail that vision and things start moving really fucking quickly, which sometimes they do, you will collapse under the weight of that vision because you don't have the strong foundations that you need from a business perspective to be able to build. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Elaborate. Continue to elaborate on your
I want to
question.
go into like the tangible business things.
Yeah.
So I'm starting out, I want to do big things. Do I do an LLC? Do I become a sole proprietor? Do I get the bank account right away? Do I not get the bank account right away? Like things that really set you up. And at what point in time is the right time to be doing those? And what point in time is premature?
I love this question. Here's the answer: go sell something first.
Great.
And that's it. So, anybody tuning in right now, stop going to your lawyer, stop setting up your LLC, stop setting up a company, stop doing all of the administrative stuff. All that you're benefiting is your lawyer, your accountant, everybody else except for yourself. Stop. Go and sell something. Yeah, but Keith, I don't have Stripe set up. I don't care. Go sell something. Because you can add it to Stripe later. You can take credit card. You can take a check later. Go and convince somebody to say, here's my wallet. I want to buy from you. Yeah, but I don't have the foundation set up. I don't care, actually. Because if you can solve the problem for one person, you'll solve it again. Stop setting up the LLC. Stop setting up the company. Stop fucking finding your logo. Stop creating the name of the company. Stop building the business plan. Either test, iterate, and sell, but don't do anything else. Stop. That's the first thing. There is no foundation. The foundation of business is selling something first, solving a problem, and then everything else will happen. Go to your
Will it
lawyer.
though?
100%. I'm going to tell you
Because I
something.
agree with you. I agree with
I'm
you.
going to
But
tell you something.
you go
Back
first.
when
You're excited.
back when I was at ICUC, I'll never forget this conversation. We were working with a company out of Europe, a company called Spinvox. Back in the days, nation, when BlackBerry went, so this, I'm going to date myself. You were able to you were able to get voicemails as a text message. Oh, really? Yes, we leave your voicemail come as a text message.
That was a money move, though. People needed that.
Yeah. Back in the day, they had this technology platform that they disguised. It was actually human beings. So they were selling the world that it was actually tech doing it all, but they had a bunch of low-cost labor in Greece doing it all.
Okay.
I remember the call. Hey, Keith, can you guys moderate it multiple languages for this client? Yes. I just kept saying yes. They were going to pay us $35,000 a month,
Jesus.
US. I had no bank account set up, had no company set up, had no structure set up, had no shareholders agreement set up. I had nothing set up. I said, yes, I can do it. Then they sent me a check. After we started doing it, I gave them a contract. We sent them a check. The check sat in my truck for 2 months before we could cash it because we had to go get everything set up. That's it. There's no rocket science there. They're like, we have a problem. I can solve it. Okay, great. I didn't go to the lawyer first. I didn't go set up a company. I didn't go and patent my idea and go, oh, I got this idea. Someone's going to steal it. Really? No, I just went and solved the fucking problem. That's it. That's it. Flynn, you're muted.
Fucking fun.
Go ahead.
Here's the key difference that I'll make, though,
Yes.
and I want to dive into this.
Yes.
Old me
Yes.
would have said, I'll go sell something.
Yes.
But I would have gone to sell the company idea.
Yes.
I would have gone to sell this concept versus what you've done there and what you've described there is go find the tangible tactical problem that you are selling and
Yes.
sell that to somebody. And there's a big difference there. And I think that some
100%.
people in our audience, like I was, might be confused by that. So talk to me about the differences there.
Solve a problem, provide a solution. So, for example, this show, the problem that I believe it's confirming for me every single day, we're solving an accountability problem. And we're helping solve perhaps a loneliness problem for men. We're giving a place for men to hang out, right? But we're solving a problem of accountability. There's men that are tuning in every single day going, I'm having struggles being accountable, but I know that Keith's there and John's there and Marty's there and Christina's there, and they're going to help me be accountable. There's a problem being solved there. In the Spinvox case, they needed somebody to dot the I's and cross T's. We did it. So any entrepreneur, go and solve a problem and just do it again. There's your business, period. See ya, show's over. The problem I have, Flynn, is that I like to build big. Like even Maurice, like, Keith, just go and
A lot of
fucking.
entrepreneurs like to build big. It's not just you.
But Maurice, like, just go and sell this. No, I don't want to just go sell. I want to do something bigger than that. I want to go change the world. So that's the balance. There's no question.
That's what I think is like the key difference between what you're talking about of selling a service or selling a product and selling a vision for something that's going to change the world, which as entrepreneurs, we tend to go there. It's not to say that vision of changing the world isn't of value, but that as the thing you're going to sell is not going to make you money.
Solve the problem.
Not right away.
You got to solve a problem. You need to solve a problem and then repeat it. And I know that's so cliche and simple, but that really is all that it is. So if you can solve a problem and do it repeatable, you got yourself a nice little business. Right. And then you can worry about the foundation. Because in my experience, humans are really forgiving. Let's do a role play. Hey, Christina, we did some business, but you know what? Fuck, man. I know you paid me. I got to admit to you, man, I already have my bank account set up first. Oh, I don't care. You solved my problem. Because you actually don't care. I solved your problem.
Yeah, they don't care.
They don't care. They don't care what your logo looks like. They don't care that you spent $5,000 getting your LLC set up. They don't care. Nobody cares.
No.
All they're caring about their own interests. Just solve my problem and I'll give you money. Let's go to number 2.
Here's the direction. Wait, but before that, because I'll pick this all up. Here's the direction that I've also gotten myself caught up in. So you go and you solve the problem and you got this idea of how you're going to change things. And that first client is a very big client
Yes.
and they're going to give you money, which is
Yes.
great. So you get that part sorted, that's wonderful. But what happens sometimes and what happened to me and my business was I actually ended up becoming a de facto agency for this first client because then all of a sudden I was doing everything they needed because I
Yes.
thought there was scope creep all of it. I just became an
Yes.
agency. And I
Yes.
was like, what the fuck happened to my business and
Yes.
selling this and helping other people with this problem? Talk to me about that situation.
That can happen. Scope creep's the worst thing that happens. And I know it happened much in my old world at ICUC where scope creep happens. Now you can turn it into a positive though. Okay, I keep solving problems. Oh, I keep solving problems. Oh, I woke up thinking I was starting that company over there, but I'm actually solving a bunch of problems over here. Look at my bank account. It's not a bad thing. I don't know. I don't know if it's a bad thing. If you can keep, there's a lot of entrepreneurs that can't even find a problem to solve. If you happen to stumble into a company where you're solving one problem and then solving the second one, solving the third one, you might have yourself a good little business there. And you might need to put your ego aside and say, oh, wait a minute. The vision I was creating Captive Interactive. And then all of a sudden I recognized that during that process that I was solving a problem that it was not sexy. You mean I got to build a business by sitting in a fucking box I'll never forget the conversation with Maurice. We had a chat with Much Music, big MTV here in Canada, and they said to us, "We just consider you guys the box in the basement. As long as it's working, we're fine cutting you a
Don't give
check."
a fuck. Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, I make good margins on that check. I don't need to be flashy. I don't need to be out and everywhere. Okay, I'll accept that. I'll be the box in the basement. Next."
Mhm.
And so I went in with this big, I'm going to go and do this. No, we just want you to do this. Okay. So I guess the point is that if that's the role you end up playing, and I love how Marty says, find your role as a basketball player and then go be
Mhm.
the best at that role. So in your case, if they're like, yeah, I want you to be an agency, then you have to ask yourself is, hey, I'm making good money at it. I'm building a business out of it. I keep solving problems. Maybe during my journey, I can add in these extra things or maybe not. I don't
So
know. But
here's where it fucked us.
yes,
We got the big client.
tell me.
We ended up becoming an agency,
Yes.
didn't have the foundations,
Mm,
and we were building a technology product,
mm, mm,
which means we needed handshake deals
mhm,
because I knew people. And
mhm,
not having those foundations from a legal perspective is eventually what got us in trouble because we handshake deal on it's my tech, not yours.
mhm.
And then they decided it was theirs. And then they had the resources as a big company
Yeah.
to just take me to legal and my team to legal. And that's it. Just say, cool, we're going to bleed you out. You won't be able to do this. You
Yeah.
can't keep lawyers for long enough. So there's this like constant, it's don't build the foundations. I know now that once I got that check, then we needed to do all those things.
Yes.
We needed to build all those foundations. We needed to handshake deals are great initially. Then you got to really get that shit down on paper. So that's the balance there of it isn't all or nothing. You have to look at the situation and you have to ultimately, when you're working also with a very big client that has more financial resources than you, handshake deals don't work. And if you get that check, you need to put legal agreements in place.
I often don't know if getting the big client is off
I would never do it again.
I was just gonna say is might
Never.
not necessarily the best thing. I remember having a big client back when we were growing ICUC. We were in a meeting with them and they were negotiating the contract with me, and they said, "Oh, hey." And it was our big public broadcaster here in this country, Christina, the CBC. Yeah, I'll mention it. And they're like, "Oh, hey, but we can put your logo on the website." I said, "Yeah, it's great. The logo doesn't pay my visa."
A
And
lot of big brands will do that. A lot
often
of big
big
brands
brands
will
will do that.
say,
Yes.
I'll give you this first one.
Yes.
And you use my brand, then you leverage my brand. I'll pay you less. You put in more
Yes.
work, and you leverage my brand to get other people. But what you don't realize is that that brand is really hard to work for. There's a lot of layers and a lot of bureaucracy you have to work around. And all of a sudden, you become the agency because you just need money because you have no other time to sell the product that you wanted to sell anyway. So you can't leverage them because there's no time. You're a small team.
I find that's quite common in what's sort of looking for vanity businesses, entrepreneurs that start out wanting to go work with the Toronto Maple Leafs, or the Toronto
Mhm.
Raptors, or the sports industry, these high profile, glamorous businesses. And then you land them, and then you're like, oh, they're actually a pain in the ass. They don't want to pay me a lot of money. No, true story. Go
I
find a
know what
small,
I'm saying.
medium-sized business, go solve their problems over and over, and then graduate over there. Yeah, I get it. You want the big dog for the vanity metrics. You want the big dog to help move the needle forward. But as Christina said, in my experience, those big dogs will hold you back too. And they will probably not be profitable over time.
They won't be profitable over time, and to me, it's like the equivalent of prioritizing the brand for your own company. That leveraging of that brand is never gonna come close to solving the problems like you've said. You will be able to continue conversations, you'll be able to leverage the fact that you've solved problems for a company. Who you've solved it for matters less, quite frankly.
Yes. Yeah. True story. 100% true story. Let's keep rolling through this, Christina. Good conversation. And I want to wrap it up here in a couple of minutes, but let's keep rolling with it. So let's talk about, there's a few other things: growth killers, systems that scale, revenue engine, and then exit. Where do you want to go with it next in terms of building a foundation of business, Christina Flynn?
I think I wanna do systems because I think it's something that you're quite good at,
Hmm.
and you look at it from an interesting perspective. I think when a lot of people think systems and they think, "I gotta go buy a system.
Mm.
I gotta go find a system
Oh,
from
no.
this person because they have my answer," and obviously they think that because that's how people market themselves. It's the
Yes.
exact purpose why for League 100, we're not saying you get a system. We're
Yeah.
saying we're gonna
True.
teach you a lot of shit and you're gonna build your own system. So
Yes.
tell and talk to me a little bit about how you look at from the very early stages of business building. What are the types of things that you say, great, I know you look at it like this, like, I need to learn how to do this thing and I need to learn how to do it really well. And then I need to build a system around that. What is your perspective on that? How do you approach it?
Great question. I like to use the pizza restaurant metaphor because I think everybody can relate to it. I feel in business we overcomplicate things. It's big tech, big AI, and layers of process. No, go buy a pizza restaurant. Go make a pizza. And you're gonna say, so what do you mean by that, Keith? What does it take to make a pizza? The dough, how do you want to put the sauce on it? How do you want to make the crust? Like all those things that go, and they seem very innocuous and very like basic, but it's not.
Mhm.
Right. So from my point of view as an entrepreneur, you got to go into the kitchen and make the pizza. Learn how to make the pizza how
Right.
you want the pizza made. How do you want the peppers put on the pizza? How do you want the pizza cut? And then once you've figured all that out, then go sell it to somebody. Or if not sell it to somebody, teach to somebody else inside of your house, right? So that you can go and repeat that. But that to me is about building a system, which is just is taking something really basic. And that's what I love about Elon, man. Again, love him or hate him, let's put all politics aside. He goes into every part of his business and learns how to do it, empowers the owner of that system, and then leaves it. But
Mhm.
Elon himself, he goes, I'm going to go learn how to build this part of the car. I got respect for that, man. I got
Yeah.
nothing but respect for that because that's what you have to do. I don't think enough entrepreneurs do that, Christina Flynn.
And I think
Hold on, one last thing. There's been this debate recently in the last 6 weeks or so. I think you might have seen it or not, but and Brian Chesky from Airbnb brought it up. But there's been this mind shift of was it the founder's code? Like the founder's got to be in. You can't
yeah.
just bring a bunch of people and delegate. No, man, I gotta know how the fucking pizza works before I can give it to Christina to say, okay, Christina, here's how the pizza has to go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting balance. I think that we've seen it happen with a lot of VC funded tech companies, right? That it's all about the founder and their vision and their brand and build around that and they'll delegate the rest. That's not sustainable though at all because if you have this like disconnect between your team and what you're actually doing and then trying to sell them day to day on the vision behind that but not really understanding, not being empathetic, quite frankly, to that day to day,
Mhm.
you're going to have a disconnect that you're not going to be able to fill those gaps. So yes,
True.
I'm full believer. Is it annoying sometimes to the rest of your team? Yeah, it is. Do you care about things that they don't care about? Yeah, but that's why you're the founder.
Well,
I'll
that's
never forget.
exactly
I
it.
don't know why, but I never forget. I watched the documentary on ASAP Rocky, and they talked about he has this like monotony to the way that he looks at his show, and he's obsessive over it. Like you can end a show and the rest of his team, the rest of his crew are like, that was awesome. And he's going to tell you the 10, 15 different things to be like, not acceptable because this is me. this is my jam. This is my name behind this. We are building together and I want to do it with you. But this shit needs to be sorted. And that's not always comfortable for a lot of entrepreneurs. But I love it's looking at entrepreneurialism like what we talk about. It's like artistry, it's creativity. It's
That
saying like
is
we're creating something together. I'm the primary artist here. It exists in my
yes,
brain, and I'm going to
yes.
do everything I can to bring it to fruition. But because it exists in my brain, I'm going to know a lot of minutia and bullshit around it that you think is bullshit, but I know it's important.
Yes. Wayne, I see you there, Wayne. I like canned mushrooms over fresh, by the way, but I don't mind either or. I see you, Wayne.
Oh, I
And
grew up on canned, but I can't go back.
is it ASAP Rocky or ASAP Rocky? We're talking business and branding with Keith Christina. So here's something that I'll throw you because we're talking about internally right now and building our business together.
Yeah.
We've been talking this morning around like the thumbnail design. And I love how you brought it back to ASAP Rocky and these little fine details. So again, I'll take you into my brain from our conversation this morning. When I'm looking at our conversation with our thumbs, like I'm thinking it's December 1st.
I know
What?
you
It's
are.
November 5th. No, it's December 1st. Because if we're not talking about it today, it's not going to happen by December 1st. And that to
For
me is
sure.
what I don't think enough entrepreneurs think about.
Mm.
Working on things. I got up this morning and I was analyzing and looking at data. And I'm like, okay, as a leader, I feel like I'm operating at a different level right now. I'm up the game here. It's like the LeBron. It's okay. It's now time to elevate the rest of the game. And it's okay, guys. We've gotten a little bit complacent with this. And to me, it's like when you're on a winning streak, everything's fine. We're fucking winning.
Always.
But then there's the coach in the back room going, why is that guy ornery right now? We're fucking winning, coach. No, we're not. Like, look behind the scenes, man. The data's not here because we're not going to be winning by December 15th if we're not fixing the things on November 5th. That to me is an exceptional leader that can see way over there and brings the team together and says, hey, man, I know the foundation appears to be strong, but I think there's some cracks here. What do you mean, Keith? No, but I think because of this. That to me is, I think, a skill for a leader as an entrepreneur or even the foundation of a business. Do you follow me?
Yeah, and it's in the fine details
Yes.
and team members on the other side of that. It's like, could I look at that and be like, we're not being complacent. We're not doing
Yes.
this. We're not doing this. Or could I say, yeah, so understood. Let's move forward. Let's change this up. And it's not to say you're surrounding yourself with a bunch of yes people, but it's like, where are you going to focus your effort and energy? If there's big conceptual things that I think we're missing or we're not seeing, I'm going to bring those to the table. If there's things like this that are built in the minutia and the detail, that detail world is yours. So we make the shifts, we make the changes, and we move along.
That's it. That's it. That's it. And that's the goal of an entrepreneur. That's the role of an entrepreneur. Be empathetic, be a leader, and move the business forward, just like we do every single day here at 8 o'clock Eastern time. Wayne, I see you. Thanks for joining in the show today.